Hello, my name is Morris Adams, your host for Empowering Voices. Empowering Voices is a special program where we bring what's going on in your community into your living room. My goal is to empower you, to enrich you with information that can make a difference in your day. I believe if I can make a difference in your day, you can make a difference in your life. Today, we have a wonderful program and an amazing guest. Have you ever met anyone that installs encouragement in you? You know what encouragement is, the belief that you can do anything. Today, we have on our program a person that installs encouragement, that installs the belief that you can do anything. I want to introduce to our guest, Miss Vickie Davis. Vickie, would you say hello to our guest?
Wow, Morris, that was a very complimentary introduction. I really appreciate that. And hello, everyone.
Well, when I say these next things, you'll see why I say that. You are a activist in the community. You work hard in the community to encourage people to believe in themselves. Your aim, from my perspective, from listening to you and watching you, is your aim is to elevate people in the community to be contributors to the community. You see, it's just simple. It's just what you do. And here's the thing that I watch. When you're working in the community, we know something in the community is about to improve. So I just want to say thank you for coming to our program. I want to say thank you. And then I'd like to address some of the things that we're coming together for. It's my understanding that one of the undertakings that you're introduced yourself to is the Juneteenth festival. And I'm going to say that you're calling it a family affair. So that I want us to elaborate what is Juneteenth. But before we go into that, I want you to tell us, where did you get the name a family affair and why did you name it a family affair?
Oh man, I wish I could remember who sings that song, but maybe you can help me. It's a family affair.
Sly and the Family Stone.
Yes. You know what? I grew up on that type of music, and it just reminds me of like my family dancing, singing, celebrating one another for like our lifetime accomplishments and being there for one another, being together. And that is the vision that I wanted for Juneteenth Jam. And that's really what it's turning out to be. It's such a true collaborative community effort, all different organizations coming together to help one another in a real family affair type of way. So it is definitely a family affair.
I really appreciate everything you said because it gathers into reality where we've come to in the United States, where we've come to in our community. It is a family affair and people are actually coming together. The separation that had happened for so many years it's starting to rub away, it's starting to melt, it's starting to disappear. And events like this is what allows it to happen. So I want to say thank you for that. And then I want to come to the next question. Is Juneteenth, is it traditionally a family affair? Is it traditionally a family event?
Well, I think that the beautiful thing about Juneteenth Jam in Rialto is that because this is our first inaugural event of many more to come, that we get to set the tone of what Juneteenth will mean for our community. So I'm hoping, like any other thing that I do in the community, that this will be a platform to facilitate more of that family affair environment and create a tradition that is built on us building one another up, just, you know, to mimic that awesome introduction that you just gave me.
So I want to open this family thing up. When you say family, are you talking about small, young? Are you talking about races? Are you when you say family, what are we encompassing here? What are we talking about? Everybody?
Well, you know, family is really a cultural term, and culture is defined by groups that are pulled together by a shared language and shared traditions. So that means that culture can transcend age, ethnicity, national origin, all of those things. So the hope is that this will be a true family affair, in that our community can be a family akin to one another and be supportive and loving of one another in the way that we might be if we reduce that definition down to an actual member of our own family.
Well, I had the sense that you were including everyone. I like that. I really appreciate that. Let's go back for a little bit of where did Juneteenth come from, and how did it arrive at our shores? Give us a little history on Juneteenth.
So Juneteenth was first proclaimed a holiday only a couple of years ago, recognized federally. However, the history of Juneteenth goes back to the beginning of the end of slavery. So there were slaves that continued to be enslaved beyond the Emancipation Proclamation, and who were not made aware of their own freedom until this day on Juneteenth. That occurred in the year escapes me. Maybe I should do
1863.
1863.
Mm-hmm. Now I like everything you said, and I'm gathering that there were some people that heard a proclamation in 1863. The gentleman, his name was General Gordon Granger. He spoke and he gave the article, order number 3, General Order number 3. And that ended slavery for a lot of people who had actually been been freed by the president years before. And so I imagine that would have been a great celebration if you had heard him make that proclamation, if you had heard him make the statement. And it appears from what you're telling me that from that celebration, that celebrations have continued and continued and continued. It may have been a dark day at one time, but when the light came, we want to continue the light and celebrating and letting people know that we appreciate the freedom that everyone is enjoying in this great country. And I say, and it is a great country. It really is, because it's continued to go. Now, you said that, and I believe it gave us that it became a federal holiday. So it started as a general order, a military order, and it translated all the way into a federal holiday. That means that you get to take off with pay. Is that am I right on that?
Well, that's what everybody's wondering, right? I'm not gonna pretend to know the details of how your employer allows you to celebrate Juneteenth, but I will say that we're looking forward to making a proclamation to have this be declared a holiday here in the city of Rialto on June 12th. So with a proclamation similar to that, that was initially given, we are going to be requesting that there be a proclamation to recognize Juneteenth officially in the city of Rialto.
So you're saying it's going to be entered into the records, it's going to be made as a matter of record in the city hall. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Wow. I mean, I'm amazed, and I'm appreciative that events such as this have translated from Texas all the way through to California, and are now entering into the hall of our city. Our city is recognizing it. You know, that's a tremendous thing. You know, this is no small event. Now, I'd like to do a little bit talking about, when you say there's going to be a celebration, are you Juneteenth, and I'm believing that's June 19th, and we're talking coming up here in this June 19th. Could you tell us about what you plan to do, or what's going to happen, or how it's going to happen? Because I think there's some people out there in the audience that say, okay, well, I'd like to celebrate with you.
Well, that's what the question that I've been waiting for you to ask, because we have so much cool stuff going on for so many different aspects of the community to participate in. So we will be at Ferguson Park on June 19th here in the city of Rialto, starting at 6 o'clock. And now, before we go too much further, a lot of people have said 6 o'clock, Vickie, it's so late. Let's remember we live in Southern California, okay? So it is going to be hot. So our intention is to bring the community out when it's safest to bring us out. Hopefully the sun starts going down, and then we can have some nice sundown activities leading into the finale, which will be a movie in the park, which has to happen when it's dark, right? So we've got the skate park takeover with Preston Pollard, who is a professional skateboarder, and he'll be out there doing some tricks and cool stuff with the kids. We've got a wheelchair exhibition basketball game happening with a youth basketball wheelchair league and our own Rialto PD. We have live music happening. We have DJ Sassy B on the ones and twos. We have performances from the Divine Nine fraternities. We also have performances from different praise dancers. I met the coolest young lady who recently published her very first book, and it's a children's book, and she is only 12 years old, and she's going to be doing a reading of her first book for the audience. We're going to have movies, we're going to have food, we're going to have, items for sale through our vendors, but most importantly, we're going to have one another.
Here. Tell me about this young lady who's going to do a reading. Then, and for the audience, tell us, what is a reading like? Because I want to say it like this way. I went to went to Washington, D.C., and I was in the hotel. And one of the features was, they said, we have a reading. And I said, what's a reading? And I didn't want them to know I didn't know what a reading was. And then they said, well, we have a young man who has a book, and he's going to feature his book, and he's going to have a reading. And I went and I sat in there and I said, wow, this is amazing. So I got to meet the author. I got to meet to hear the book. So tell us a little bit, when she has what's going to happen?
So pretty much this is a whole day of firsts, right? It's the first time we've ever had this this inaugural event. It's the first time we've ever had a skate park takeover with a professional skateboarder. It's the first time we've had a wheelchair basketball exhibition. It is the first time that this young lady has ever presented her work as a published author. And she's going to be just reading directly from the pages of her book. And we're going to be in support of that. So there's a lot of firsts happening on this day, which I think is very appropriate, because it is really a day for us to decide what our traditions will be like, what our heritage will be in the city of Rialto, by commemorating this occasion that is ages old, but is new as a celebration officially for our city. So thankfully, so much support has come my way in doing this. So many different organizations are participating in our committee meetings. And it really is going to show on the day of the event that this has been a collaboration of organizations who have been committed to the community for a very long time, and who are excited to work with one another and share resources and put something together that the community can enjoy for years to come.
Now, you said a lot of things that are going to happen, and I liked every one of them. I'm just going to go over what traditionally happens, and you're going to get a sense of what you're doing and what happens on Juneteenth, as opposed to another holiday that we celebrate. And I love that holiday too, and that is the 4th of July. But watch this. This is what happens. The traditional way that we celebrate Juneteenth is there's a prayer. Sometimes there's religious services. Sometimes there's an educational event, which is what you're presenting, an educational event in the book reading. Then there's the picnic. We haven't talked about the food yet. We're going to get there too. But traditionally there's a picnic or cookouts. And then they have festival foods. And this is the, believe it or not, this is where we got the black velvet, the velvet cake, red velvet cake. That's it. Velvet cake, red velvet cake. This is where it came from. This event. This
Wow.
is the event that it came from. And so there's some other traditional foods that are there. And then from time to time, there's a parade. There's always music, and you're going to provide music for us. There's dancing, and then there's the celebration of African American culture, and the celebration of African American events. Now, I like all of that because it said it's not only just a day that you come together and smile at faces. It's a day that you come together that you get to enjoy the person with education, with food. But so I'm really appreciating this day because it's not just, and I'll say it this way. I love the 4th of July. To me, it was a great eating day because my dad barbecued. And it was a day that I reflected on this nation was freed. And now here is a day where the people in the nation were freed and they come together and all these things happen. So it's just not get together, eat and go home. You get together, you eat and learn. And that's one of the reasons why I said when you're around, someone's improved, something's improved, and there's somebody who's encouraged. I mean, and it really is, this is a day of encouragement. So I just want to say thank you for that. And thank you for bringing this day about, because everything you said actually tells whomever comes, they're going to have some fun.
Yeah, they
now
are.
to the eating. Go ahead.
They are going to have fun. And I really appreciate that, Mr. Morris, about improving people and improving our community and improving, our quality of life with the educational pieces and with the fellowship pieces. We don't want to take those for granted. And we don't want to take for granted even the opportunities that we have to build spaces like that for ourselves within our community. And it definitely is a task. But when I'm there, when it's all realized, when it's all put together, it's a whole experience. Like, it's inspirational and it's encouraging. And I know you mentioned like, oh, Vickie, you're doing something that encourages people. But when I see people coming together like in formats like this and the sharing of the resources and just the verbal communication and calls and follow-up and love and support, like it inspires and encourages me, and so I feel like it's kind of a positive feedback loop, we're like, oh, Vickie's doing something cool and it's encouraging us, but oh, Vickie's getting to watch so many encouraging like interactions and inspirational people and influential people who have been doing things in our community, in our city for many, many generations before me. And I appreciate those interactions like as improving myself, so I guess you could say like it's a selfless task, but it's not, because I get so much growth from it, personally too, because there's just so much value like in the process and in the interaction, and then what comes out of the process is like something for everyone. So I know you said talk about food, but I just had to say, thank you to you and Rialto Network and to so many other people, to our mayor, to our city council for the things that they have done in the past, for us, to just so many community leaders and supporters, and some just like moms and dads who were like, hey, you need a few extra chairs, and they bring them, and they bring ice or water bottles, and then it really is a family affair, because that's how it works. Like, you get to the barbecue and you're like, oh man, we forgot the ice, who's not here yet? Call them. And then they bring it, and then everybody has what they need. So there will definitely be food, because we all need food, and there's going to be barbecue. Cannot have a family affair without barbecue, tacos, popcorn, funnel cake, desserts, and all different kind of treats. But one thing in particular that we wanted to focus on and making sure that we have is the pecan pie, because pecan pie is the pie of Texas, and that is where the last group of enslaved people learned the news that they too were finally free. And I know sometimes we take for granted platforms like this where we can say, hey, it's the first Juneteenth in Rialto, everybody come. And then we all just share, and it's digital. But, you know, there was a time when that news had to travel across the nation by word of mouth.
Right.
And so we want to pay homage to that with our pecan pie eating contest.
How many people would you like to see at this festival?
I want to see all of Rialto there. I'll put everybody in Rialto to come through and at least get a plate, because that's what my mom always said. Like, you got time to stop and get a plate. So at least stop and get a plate or do a little shopping. Once the sun's gone down, we're going to be watching Space Jam, A New Era, which stars LeBron James. And it's actually a remake of a movie that I love from my childhood that was also Space Jam, that starred Michael Jordan. So that's a little telltale of how old I am, but I digress. There'll be a movie, so you can do that picnic style, bring out a pizza if you want for the whole family. You can definitely support our food vendors that will be there by getting some snacks and some dinner there, but you'll need chairs and blankets and pillow and whatever else to make your family comfortable on the lawn while we enjoy the show together.
Okay, I wanted to make sure we got that out because I want everyone to be comfortable. There are some benches, but if you bring your own chair, you bring your own blanket, you can sit down and enjoy in a relaxed atmosphere. A fantastic movie. Now, there was one other thing. I want to go back to two other events, and then I'll believe that we've conveyed my heart to the public. This is a wonderful event, and everyone should come. You said there's going to be someone playing basketball against the police, against the...
So we have a youth wheelchair league that is going to be doing a basketball exhibition against our Rialto PD department. So everyone will be in chairs to even the playing field a little bit, and we're going to have a lot of fun doing that. But in addition to that, there's another basketball court, and that court is going to be managed by Fentwood Hoops, and they're going to be just doing some fun games and giveaways for the community on that court. So 3-point.
So there's prizes.
And dunk. Oh, there's always prizes. There's raffles, there's prizes, there's always opportunities to win something fun. We'll definitely be incorporating some of those opportunities into our skate park area, and just for general admission, you can just participate in the raffle and win some cool stuff.
Mm-hmm. I just recently went to an event at the Rialto Ferguson, the skate park.
Yes.
And I was so amazed at the police presence and how many smiles were on their faces. I was so appreciative. You walked around, and they actually talked to you. You could actually talk to them. I could call out a few names, but it was really wonderful. And when I hear that we're going to have these gentlemen at the park, I was so appreciative that they are going to be a part of our community, and that the public can actually just be around them in such a comfortable atmosphere. I like that. I appreciate that.
Let's see how much they're smiling after the game, because I hear that these kids are a really good shot. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
This is good to know. This is good to know. So then my last that you said that there's going to be events, stage events also.
Yes, also stage events. So we'll have live music. We have some praise dancers and fraternity performers. Like I mentioned, the book reading. We have a DJ. So lots of things happening on the stage pre-movie. But once the movie starts, then the stage will go quiet and we'll all enjoy our featured film.
Well, I imagine if there's a DJ, there's probably going to be a little bit of line dancing. I'm just imagining this.
Yeah. there's definitely going to be some line dancing because I don't think you're imagining. I kind of am getting the vibe that you've been to a family affair
Oh,
uh,
yes.
on an occasion or two.
Yeah, yes.
So definitely line dancing. Um, you know, really, Mr. Morris, the day is going to be about celebrating our history, celebrating our community, celebrating this newly founded day for our city, and celebrating one another. And with all that celebration, I think all it boils down to is joy and fun and happiness and geez, like what else do we need, you know? So if you can find a way down to Ferguson Park on June 19th, we will be there at 6 o'clock. We'll be doing all of these things to the max fun capacity. And everyone is invited.
All right. I want to say this. I want to welcome you and thank you for coming onto our platform and speaking to the people. Everyone needs to know that there's what's going on in their community. Everyone needs to know that they can participate. And so this is an invitation for them to come down, enjoy what's happening in their home, in their community. You'll get a chance to meet the mayor. You get to meet some fantastic people. Probably going to be a celebrity walking around there. I would just give her name as Vickie.
Oh, no, not me. But there may be a few basketball people, a few basketball names out there that people might recognize.
I
So
was hoping you would say that. Bring that up. Thank you. Now, I want to say thank you for the audience for coming in and tuning in to Empowering Voices. We try as best we can to bring what's going on in the community into your living room. And I want to thank our guest, Miss Vickie Davis, for coming on and expressing what she's hosting, and that is this beautiful event, Juneteenth. And I would love for everyone, if you can, if you have a moment, come in, check it out. There's plenty of parking. The parking's not going to be difficult. There's a lot of space. It's going to be a wonderful place you can rest yourself any place. There's going to be wonderful foods. We haven't even talked about all the foods, but I want you to know, from my heart to yours, there's going to be a lot of vendors, and they're tailored just for your taste. So I want to say thank you. I want to thank my audience for coming in. Thank you.